Welcome to The Explainer. What if I told you that two of the biggest forces shaping your financial future have pretty much nothing to do with how smart you are? Today, we're diving into two core ideas from Morgan Housel's The Psychology of Money, the invisible hand of luck and risk, and that dangerous internal battle against the idea of enough. So let's kick things off with a story that just perfectly illustrates this whole thing. It's about two brilliant high school friends back in the 1960s, and their lives are completely shaped by two sides of the very same powerful coin. On one hand, you've got a young Bill Gates. Now, yeah, he was staggeringly smart and worked incredibly hard, but he also had a 1 in a million head start. His high school, Lakeside, just happened to be one of the only schools in the entire world in 1968 that had a computer. But on the other side of that coin was his best friend, Ken Evans. Gates himself said Evans was the best student in the class, just as skilled, just as ambitious. But Kent, well, he faced 1 in a million odds of a different kind. He died in a mountaineering accident before they even graduated. It's the exact same force, right? Same magnitude, just working in totally opposite directions. And that story, it just perfectly illustrates our first big idea. Luck and risk, they're siblings. They're the undeniable truth that our lives are guided by these powerful forces that are completely outside of our own effort. You see, the world is just way too complex for 100% of your actions to dictate 100% of your outcomes. It just doesn't work that way. Okay, so if we can't control everything, what do we do? How are we supposed to operate in a world that's run by these, invisible forces? And how do we make sense of success and failure? Well, it really starts by letting this one idea sink in. Nothing is ever as good or as bad as it seems. Think about it. When we look at someone else's failure, we tend to blame their bad decisions. But when it's us, we chalk it up to the tough realities of risk. The real truth is always going to be somewhere in the middle. So here's the crucial takeaway. Instead of obsessing over these extreme examples like Bill Gates, we should be focusing on broad, repeatable patterns. The more extreme the outcome, the more likely it was just wildly influenced by extreme luck or extreme risk, which honestly makes it pretty much useless for our own lives. Now, what's really interesting here is the warning that's baked into all of this. When you actually acknowledge the role that luck played in your own success, it keeps you humble. You realize you're not invincible. It reminds you that risk, luck's sibling, can turn your story around just as fast. And look, the same thing goes for failure. It doesn't always mean you made some terrible decision. Sometimes you just get unlucky and end up on the wrong side of the odds. The real key here is to build a financial life that can actually survive that risk, one that makes sure a single bad break doesn't just wipe you out of the game for good. And this is the perfect pivot. We've been talking about the external game of luck and risk. But when you start to ignore those forces, when you believe your success is 100% because of you, that's when the internal game, the one we play inside our own heads, gets really, really dangerous. And that internal game, well, it's often won or lost based on a single, super powerful idea. This next part is built around an incredible little story that gets right to the heart of one of the most dangerous financial mindsets out there. Enough. It's such a simple word, isn't it? But not having it, it can be absolutely catastrophic. It's the reason why people who have everything can lose it all, which we see in the cautionary tales of two men who were once at the absolute top of the financial world. So first up, take a guy like Rajat Gupta. His story is incredible. He started with nothing, was orphaned as a teenager, and climbed all the way up to become CEO of McKinsey, the most prestigious consulting firm on the planet. By 2008, he was worth a cool $100 million. And then, of course, there's Bernie Madoff. And what's wild is that before the whole infamous Ponzi scheme, Madoff was running a hugely successful and totally legitimate business, a firm that was raking in tens of millions of dollars for him every single year. So you've got these two men, and they had it all. Seriously, more money than they could ever spend, prestige, power, freedom. So why? Why did they just throw it all away for more money that they absolutely did not need? The answer is almost painfully simple. They had no sense of enough. They were stuck in a trap where the goalpost for what makes you happy is just always, always moving. Your ambition grows faster than your satisfaction, and the only way to feel like you're catching up is to take bigger and bigger risks. And that right there, that leads us to the most critical, and probably the hardest financial skill of all.
getting the goalpost to stop moving. It's mastering the art of knowing when you have enough.
Okay, so how do we actually get good at this? Well, first, you have to consciously decide to get the goalpost to stop moving. Second, and this one is huge, you have to understand that social comparison is a battle you just can't win. The only winning move is not to play. Third, enough is just a reminder that the opposite, wanting more and more, will push you right to the point of regret. And finally, some things are just never worth the risk.
No matter how much money you think you could make, some things are simply invaluable. Your reputation, your freedom, your family and friends, your happiness. These are the things you already have and you absolutely need, and they're never, ever worth risking for something you don't.
You know, Warren Buffett really nailed it, and this quote just says it all. True financial success isn't just about this relentless chase for more. It's about knowing what you have, knowing what you need, and having the wisdom to stop taking foolish risks that could destroy it all. So the ultimate question isn't how much more you can gain, but how much you already have that you're absolutely unwilling to lose.